guys, I've snuck up here to the bedroom because I'm making a video and I don't want the ARIZONIAN CACTI COWBOY to hear me, right? And he's out in the kitchen making himself a batch of chips. Yeah, hang on a minute. Just get my cup of tea, right? Oh, shit. I don't know what to do with him, you know. I said to him, well, what are you going to do now? You've only got your bloody Bugatti, you know. You can't eat that. Right, and anyway, he said, well, obviously I'll have to sell it. I said, well, who to? I said, there's no one around here who's got any money like that. You know, it's out the front washing it the other day, you know, polishing it up and everything. Neighbours coming by and they said, oh, nice car. You know, he said, oh, yeah, ought to be worth 4.5 million. He told me the beginning only spent 3.5 million on it. Now I found out it's 4.5 million. That's right. He dropped $1 million, just dropped $1 million, just like that. See, not that it's anything to do with me. It's not my business. It's his car. It's got nothing whatsoever to do with me. Right? I don't care what he does. Right? But anyway, the problem is, he said, he's been trying to work out, you know, what he's going to do to make a living. You know, I mean, he can sell the Bugatti, but well, he'll probably have to drive to Canberra or Sydney or Melbourne or something to sell that. You know, it's not the sort of thing you put on Gumtree, is it? You know, pick up on site. No. He'll have to go to the big city to do that, right? Anyway, look, getting back to this other thing, and he said, first of all, he started to try to think of ways to make money out of the, you know, Australian animals. He said, well, we could set up a petting park. And at first I thought he was talking about the teenagers. I said, what? Petting park? I said, I don't know how that'd go, you know, like neighbours might object and parents definitely would. And he said, no, he says, not that kind of petting park. He said you get a whole lot of native animals and you herd them all into your yard, right? Put a fence around them and then people have to pay to come in and pet them. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, I don't know how you go with getting a permit. I mean, it could be a bit like a zoo, couldn't it? Maybe you have to pay for a zoo permit. I mean, it's not like you can just collect a whole heap of wild animals, you know? And he said, well, we've got plenty of possums here already, so I don't have to collect any of them. And I said, yeah, well, that's only one thing. And we've got plenty of kookaburras, but, you know, going to have to go down the bush and get a kangaroo and a koala and bloody platypus and make a pond for it. God, look, the possibilities, he says, are endless, but the problem is the difficulties are endless as well. You can't just set these things up willy-nilly. You know, there's permits to be obtained, you know, permissions to be granted and the like, you know. I've tried to explain this to him, you know, but anyway, he's, I don't know. Anyway, look, the way things are going, he's so bloody good at cooking chips and hamburgers, he'll be opening a restaurant. That's the only thing I can think of that he'd be able to do now. I mean, you know, I'm sort of starting to lose it. I'm starting to get out of my tree, you know, and I just don't know which way to jump. If I do jump out of the tree, I have no idea which way to jump. And as I said, it's nothing to do with me. It's not my business, right? I've explained to him what he does with his own money, what he does with his life is his affair, right? It's up to him, and I do not want to interfere, right, in any manner, shape or form. I want to have absolutely nothing to do with it. But anyway, I just hope he hurries up and makes up his mind because, you know, the days are going by. And I said to him, you know, by the time you get that bloody Bugatti or whatever its name is down there to Sydney or Melbourne or Canberra, it's not going to be worth a cent. I said, well, it'll still be worth something, but, you know, maybe a couple of mil. But look, the point is that, as I explained to him, the moment he drove out of that showroom, the moment the front wheels, set foot on the bitumen road outside the showroom, that car dropped down in value $500,000 just right there, right? My father always said to me, no, never buy a new car, my girl. Never buy a new car. He said the moment you drive it out of the showroom, the value goes down considerably. Well, he went against that idea. My wedding was coming up and he thought, well, you know, he was going to have to, well, he was father of the bride, but my brother was going to drive the bridesmaids, see? And my uncle Mark was taking me, the bride, in his car because he had a beautiful car. But anyway, the thing is that, well, anyway, getting back to that about the cars. Yeah, anyway, so Dad and Mum go into Mackay, you know, the 23-mile drive from Serena to Mackay, and they pick out this lovely white new Valiant. Beautiful with tan upholstery, because they said to me, which colour would you like, my girl, for the bridesmaids to be driven? I said, oh, well, I think white would be nice, Dad. I think white would be nice. So away they went, and, you know, Dad never ever put anything on hire purchase. Everything was cash. Anyway, so he splashed the cash and he paid, you know, for the white Valiant. Mum and him got into the Valiant and they said, oh, we've never had a new car in our lives before. Everything's always been second hand, you know. And, I mean, you know, only a couple of years old, but, you know, they'd have to wait for a car to be at least 2 years old before they could afford to purchase it, you see. Anyway, and so they drive out of the showroom, they drive out onto the road, they're proceeding down the main street of Mackay when this absolute bloody lunatic of a guy, Gary May his name was, he's probably dead by now, I'd say he would be dead. He had several steel plates in his head when he actually slammed into my parents. He came flying out of this side street and just straight into the side of them. They spun around about 3 times, you know. Well, you know, they had a bit of whiplash and stuff. Nothing happened to them, thank God, other than that. Gary May, of course, well, normally, he'd end up with yet another plate in his head, but this particular time he didn't, right? So they had to send the tow truck down from the Valiant dealers to pick up Mum and Dad's car and tow it back to the showroom for repair. Well, you know, Dad, Mum were never happy with it after that. Just wasn't new anymore, was it, you know? You know, they panel beaded everything, but Dad said, it's never the same, my girl. You know, the car never felt the same. It never sounded the same, you know. There was just little things, you know. You could sort of hear these little tingles, you know, whatever. And this is another reason, I think, that Dad said, the moment you take that car out of the showroom and set its wheels down on the bitumen road, it's going to decrease mightily in value. And I think that particular instance put a really bad taste in my father's mouth. It did. My mother's too. They couldn't get over it, you know. No. Anyway, so this is what I said to the Arizonian Cacti cowboy. I said, look, before you end up having an accident in that car, because you know he's a maniac, right, you know, he's got that big set of wheels under him. He was bad enough in the bloody 1952 fully restored motorbike, Harley Davidson. You know, now, can you imagine? Can you imagine what he's like, you know? Oh, he's a maniac. And look, before he writes it off completely, the best thing he can do is get rid of it. So I said to him, look, you can try Gumtree, You never know who's reading Gumtree. I mean, could be a multi-millionaire on holiday in Australia. We haven't got any of our own, I don't think, well, there might be a couple, like mining magnates and that, but they're pretty few and far between. Millionaires out here are like hen's teeth, I can tell you. And like I said to him, the only reason you were able to afford one is because you sold your cactus farm. And terrible, terrible bloody decision. Well, he admits it was the most foolish thing he's done in his life. He said that to me. He said, I'm usually such a level-headed guy. He said, but he said, I knew you hated Cactus, and he said, and I just had to sell it for your sake. Oh, God. I'm sick of him trying to palm this off onto me. I've had a gutful of it, I mean, it's got nothing at all to do with me. Nothing. It's all on him, Whether I bloody hate Cactus or not is absolutely no bloody consequence whatsoever. Oh, I don't know how many times I have to tell him. Anyway, chips are smelling pretty good. Yeah, might go out and get a couple. He usually cooks a huge bloody lot, so, he won't mind if I have a couple. So anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.